International flights will be open to 18 countries starting October 14, 2021. The Freeport smelter in Gresik has an investment value of 42 trillion rupiah. Good evening, viewers. Market Headlines is ready to provide you information from business, economic, and capital market sector. And as the pandemic is still ongoing, we'll provide you the latest COVID-19 information. Please stay safe by taking some simple precautions, such as physical distancing, wearing a mask, avoiding crowds, cleaning your hands, and having less mobility. And with me, Fajar Wayong, this is Market Headlines. Let's start market headlines. The government has stated that international flights will be open to 18 countries starting October 14, 2021. The rules have been expanded from the previous, which were only open to 5 countries. Coordinating Minister for Maritime Affairs and Investment Luhut Binsar Panjaitan said international flights would be open to 18 countries starting Thursday, October 14, 2021. The rules were expanded from before, which only opened to 5 countries, namely South Korea, China, Japan, United Arab Emirates, and New Zealand.
Mengenai nama-nama negara yang bakal diumumkan ada 18 negara, saya kira Singapura belum termasuk karena mungkin belum memenuhi persyaratan atau standar level 1, level 2 sesuai dengan WHO. Mengenai negara-negara yang bisa masuk ke Indonesia ada 18 negara dan nanti saya pikir akan diumumkan secara terpadu dan dalam surat edaran Menteri Dalam Negeri.
Although he did not specify the 18 countries, he said Singapore was not one of them because it did not meet the WHO level 1 and 2 alert requirements. He said more complete regulations would be contained in the Minister of Home Affairs Silk Road. Previously, the government said it would start opening international flights for certain countries starting on October 14. Luhut explained that the government is still selective in accepting foreigners in Indonesia. IDX Channel reports. Indonesia occupies the 5th position in the world that has vaccinated against COVID-19 for more than 100 million people. However, the government said the challenge came from the supply of vaccines, one of which is Novavax vaccine that Indonesia will receive only as many as 20 million doses this year. Minister of Health Budi Gunadi Sadikin said Indonesia was in the 5th position in the world that had access to COVID-19 vaccination for more than 100 million people. Furthermore, he said the rate of vaccine injections has crossed the 2 million injections per day, recorded on September 23rd and 25th. It is hoped that it will pass 2 million injections per day.
Sekarang sudah 160 juta suntikan diberikan. Sudah lebih dari 100 juta rakyat Indonesia mendapatkan suntik pertama dan sudah lebih dari 50 juta rakyat Indonesia lengkap 2 kali suntik. Ini memposisikan kita di posisi kelima dari seluruh negara di dunia yang sudah mendapatkan akses ke vaksinasi.
However, the Minister of Health said that there were dynamics in the supply of vaccines, especially related to changes in the number of vaccine doses that Indonesia received from Novavax.
Bahwa terjadi dinamika dalam bentuk suplai vaksin, sehingga rencananya Novavax yang tadinya 50 juta akan kami terima di tahun ini, kemungkinan kami akan terima hanya 20 juta dosis, sehingga untuk selisihnya kami akan usahakan dari sumber lain, terutama yang bisa segera mengirimkan vaksinnya ke Indonesia.
To date, the Indonesian government has received 226 million doses of vaccine and 205 million doses have been distributed to regions. IDX Channel reports. And moving on to global update, Amazon will allow workers to continue working remotely indefinitely as long as they can commute to the office when necessary. Meanwhile, Sydney planned to reopen after 70% of the New South Wales state population aged 16 and older were fully vaccinated. And more stories on today's International Minute. The United Kingdom government's early response to COVID-19 and the delay in imposing a lockdown early last year was one of the most important public health failures in the country's history and cost thousands of lives, a damning parliamentary report has found. The cross-party group of UK legislators also noted the government failed to develop an effective test and trace system, which could have helped curb the spread of the virus and followed a policy of what effectively amounted to herd immunity. Amazon said it will allow many tech and corporate workers to continue working remotely indefinitely, as long as they can commute to the office when necessary. The new policy was announced in a blog post and is a change from Amazon's previous expectation that most employees would need to be in the office at least 3 days a week when offices reopened from the COVID-19 pandemic in January. The Seattle Times reported Monday's message was signed by Amazon CEO Andy Jassy. Sydney planned to reopen on the Monday after 70% of the New South Wales state population aged 16 and older were fully vaccinated. By Monday, 73.5% of the target population was fully vaccinated and more than 90% have received at least one dose. More pandemic restrictions will be removed at the 80% benchmark, and New South Wales residents will be free to travel overseas for the first time since March last year. Moderna has no plans to share the receipt for its COVID-19 vaccine because executives have concluded that scaling up the company's own production is the best way to increase the global supply, the company's chairman said Monday. In an interview with the Associated Press, Nobar Avian also reiterated a pledge Moderna made a year ago not to enforce patent infringement on anyone else making a coronavirus vaccine during the pandemic. The United Nations Health Agency has pressed Moderna to share its vaccine formula. IDX Channel reports. Arkat will be right back. Stay tuned with us.
Ya halo pemirsa, nama saya Mangivera Tjong. Saat ini saya menjabat sebagai presenter dan juga associate producer. Saat ini saya membawakan program IDX Session Closing, di mana di program tersebut saya menganalisa isu-isu ekonomi yang menarik, baik dari luar negeri maupun juga dari dalam negeri. Tentunya hingga saat ini saya masih terus belajar dan saya sangat menikmati profesi tersebut.
Life is too short to always play safe.
Oke, jadi
Itu quote-ku.
terlalu singkat untuk bermain aman gitu ya.
Untuk selalu bermain aman.
Ya, terkadang
Jadi
kita nggak melakukan.
Welcome back on Market Headlines. The Food and Drugs Monitoring Agency, or BPOM, has recently issued an emergency use authorization for the Zivivax COVID-19 vaccine. In facing the new COVID-19 variants, according to Pani Lukito, Zivivax produced 92.93% efficacy against the Alpha variant, 100% against Gamma, 77.47% against Delta, and 90% against Kappa variant. The vaccines can be stored under 2 to 4 degrees Celsius temperature, which the BPOM chief said fits a tropical country such as Indonesia. Zivivax was developed by China's firm Anhui Zifeng Longcom Biopharmaceutical. Regarding the usage, subjects will be given 3 doses of the vaccine through intramuscular injections within 1 month with 0.5 milliliters of the vaccine in each shot. Side effects caused by the vaccine's injection are considered to be under tolerable levels, such as muscle soreness in the area of injection, headaches, and fever.
Badan POM kembali menginformasikan telah diberikannya persetujuan terhadap 1 produk vaksin COVID-19 yang baru. Dengan nama dagangnya adalah Zivivax. Ya, vaksin ini adalah vaksin yang dikembangkan, diproduksi oleh Anhui Zifeng Longcom Biopharmaceutical, ya, menunjukkan efikasi vaksin Zivivax yang baik, yaitu efikasi vaksin mencapai 81,71% yang dihitung mulai 7 hari setelah mendapatkan vaksinasi lengkap. Tadi mungkin belum saya sebutkan bahwa pemberiannya adalah vaksin ini diberikan 3 kali.
Presiden Joko Widodo announced the construction of Freeport Indonesia smelter in Gresik, East Java today. He hopes that the presence of this smelter will make the Gresik Special Economic Zone an attraction for other industry players to invest. Jokowi promised that the government would continue to provide full support to improve the investment climate in Indonesia. One of them is by building infrastructure. Jokowi hopes that the existence of smelters in Indonesia will prevent downstream mining from being carried out in other countries. He believes that Indonesia can enjoy added economic value with the presence of the smelter, which is now starting to be built.
Memiliki cadangan tembaga yang sangat besar. Sangat besar. Masuk dalam kategori 7 negara yang memiliki cadangan tembaga terbesar di dunia. Ini yang banyak kita nggak tahu. Potensi yang sangat besar ini harus kita manfaatkan sebaik-baiknya, sebesar-besarnya untuk kemakmuran rakyat, dengan menciptakan nilai tambah yang setinggi-tingginya bagi ekonomi kita.
SOE Minister Erick Thohir said the Freeport smelter in Gresik, which has an investment value of 42 trillion rupiah, will be a copper refining facility to produce copper cathodes as well as refining other precious metals. The construction of the Freeport Indonesia smelter in the Special Economic Zone in Gresik, East Java has begun. This activity requires an investment of 42 trillion rupiah. Minister of State-Owned Enterprises Erick Thohir said the smelter will be a copper refining facility to produce copper cathodes as well as refining other precious metals.
Smelter ini akan melakukan investasi 42 triliun yang fungsinya tidak lain sebagai fasilitas pemurnian tembaga untuk menghasilkan katoda tembaga, dan juga fasilitas pemurnian logam berharga menghasilkan emas, perak, dan tentu logam berharga lainnya, sehingga nanti kita bisa menghasilkan rata-rata produksi 35 ton daripada emas per tahun yang nilai transaksinya kurang lebih 30 triliun.
The presence of the Freeport smelter is projected to produce 35 tons of gold per year, with a transaction value of around 30 trillion rupiah. During the construction process, it is said that it will be able to absorb up to 40,000 workers. Eric projects that Freeport Indonesia's revenue this year will increase by 100% compared to the previous year. This was due to an increase in production capacity and an increase in copper prices. IDX Channel reports. President Director of Pertamina, Nika Widiawati, again has been included in the Fortune magazine's list of the 100 most influential women in the world. This year, Nika was ranked 70th, or down one place from the same list last year. Nika was elected alongside a number of global CEOs, including GlaxoSmithKline CEO Emma Walmsley, Ping An Group CEO Jessica Tan, Banco Santander CEO Anna Botin, and Macquarie Group CEO Shamara Wikramanayake. Fortune assessed that under Nika's leadership, the company was able to overcome the triple shock challenge, namely falling oil prices, declining fuel demand, and pressure on the exchange rate during the 2020 pandemic. These three factors had suppressed the company's revenue and profit last year. However, in the first half of 2021, the company was able to rise by achieving its oil and gas production target. Fortune also highlighted Nika's support for the transition to clean energy by building a new and renewable energy portfolio, while at the oil and gas SOE, Nika planned and focused on carrying out the energy transition and decarbonization steps in the company's operations from upstream to downstream. The President, through the Coordinating Minister for the Economy, Erlangga Hartarto, asked banks to provide convenience for the textile and garment sector. This is due to reports that textile industry exports are growing rapidly. Coordinating Minister for the Economy, Erlangga Hartarto, said President Jokowi asked banks to provide convenience for the textile and garment sectors. He said that because the president received a report that the export of this industry was growing rapidly. Erlangga asked the Financial Services Authority, or OJK, to appeal to banks to provide convenience to the textile and garment sector. He suspected that the increase in the Indonesian textile exports was triggered by the lockdown policy carried out by Vietnam due to the drastic increase in daily corona cases. The government considers the policy to have a positive impact on Indonesia's textile imports. Understandably, the Vietnamese textile industry is one of Indonesia's competitors. Erlangga hopes that the convenience of the banking sector can make it easier for the textile and garment industry to get financing in order to increase their exports and working capital. At the same time, Chairman of the OJK Board of Commissioners, Wimbo Santoso, say that banks should pay attention to the textile and garment industry. The banks will not abandon this momentum, and it is hoped that support can increase supply in Indonesia. IDX Channel reports. Stay with us because market headlines will be back after this quick break with information from the capital market.
Awali hari Anda dengan beragam informasi bisnis terkini yang kami kemas dalam berita teraktual dan berkualitas. Power Breakfast, informasi terkini seputar ekonomi, bisnis, pasar modal, dan industri kreatif yang dikemas secara ringan. New Screen menyajikan informasi ekonomi, bisnis, dan keuangan. Market Headline menayangkan berita ekonomi dan bisnis dalam bahasa Inggris. Saksikan program-program berita ekonomi dan bisnis terkini langsung dari sumbernya, live hanya di IDX Channel. Your Trustworthy Economic, Business, and Capital Market Channel.
Ya halo pemirsa, nama saya Mangivera Tjong. Saat ini saya menjabat sebagai presenter dan juga associate producer. Saat ini saya membawakan program IDX Session Closing, di mana di program tersebut saya menganalisa isu-isu ekonomi yang menarik, baik dari luar negeri maupun juga dari dalam negeri. Tentunya hingga saat ini saya masih terus belajar dan saya sangat menikmati profesi tersebut.
aku mau kalau berbisnis pakai modalku sendiri walaupun kecil, tapi aku benar-benar punya semua decision kan aku. Jadi aku bisa ngelakuin semua yang aku mau. Jadi aku tuh pernah tiba-tiba tuh mikir kayak banyak banget ideku yang orang bilang gila, ngawur, kayak nekat kayak gitu-gitu kan.
Kayak yang gila, yang nekat itu yang kadang berhasil ya.
Iya.
Indeks harga saham gabungan ditutup melemah pada perdagangan sesi pertama hari ini. Harga minyak jenis West Texas Intermediate atau WTI turun 41 sen menjadi 67,95 dolar Amerika per barrel.
Watching market headlines. At the Jakarta Composite Index intraday movement earlier today, JCI was open at the level of 6,462.32. And then approaching the closing time on the first session, the index was on the level of 6,494.59. And then the index was showing strengthening trend by the second session closing time. Index was closed at the level of 6,486.27. And in short, Jakarta Composite Index today went up 0.41%. And from the GCI, let's see the top gainers and top losers from today's trading session. From top gainers, Sumarekon Agung went up 2.19% to the level of 935 rupiah per share. Unilever Indonesia went up 2.07% to the level of 4,930 rupiah. Astra International went up 1.73% to the level of 5,875 rupiah per share. Bank Mandiri went up 1.45% to the level of 7,000 rupiah per share. From top gainers, let's move to the top losers. MLPL went down 3.08% to the level of 378 rupiah per share. Merdeka Copper Gold went down 2.59% to the level of 3,010 rupiah. Timah Tbk or TINS went down 2.08% to the level of 1,650 rupiah. Aneka Tambang went down 2.07% to the level of 2,370 rupiah per share. And next, we're going to see the intraday movement of rupiah towards US dollar. Open at the level of 14,210, rupiah showing weakening trend towards US dollar, and was closed at the level of 14,189. In summary, rupiah went down 0.09%. Sumber Alphalia Trijaya is optimistic that it will open 600 to 800 new outlets. The company has even used capital expenditure of 1.4 trillion rupiah. This year, Sumber Alpharia Trijaya is optimistic that it will open 600 to 800 new outlets. The company has even used capital expenditure of 1.4 trillion rupiah from its allocation of 2.5 trillion to 3 trillion rupiah. Meanwhile, as of September 2021, the company already has 16,000 Alfamart outlets in various regions in Indonesia. Corporate Affairs Director of Sumber Alpharia Trijaya, Solihin, said that the capital expenditure funds came from internal cash to open new stores, extend leases, and revitalize warehouses. He also said that to date, Sumber Alpharia has opened around 700 new outlets that focus on areas outside Java, such as Flores and West Papua. For this reason, he is also optimistic that the business prospects will still be promising in the future, because despite the COVID-19 pandemic, the company's business development is still on track. In order to support the steps to achieve sales targets, the company is carrying out a business strategy in the form of promotion programs. IDX Channel reports. For the sake of expansion, Dharma Henwa through its subsidiaries established a new company, namely Dire Terminal Indonesia, which is engaged in seaport services. For the sake of expansion, Dharma Henwa through its subsidiaries Dire Pratama and Dire Pratama Services established a new company, namely Dira Terminal Indonesia, which is engaged in seaport services. The establishment of the new company took place on August 30, 2021. According to Corporate Secretary Dharma Henwa Mukson Arif Roshidi, the establishment of Dira Terminal Indonesia is to strengthen Dira's business structure and business development. He also added that in the future, Dira Terminal Indonesia is expected to become the operator and owner of the port. For information, Dharma Henwa recorded net profit growth in the first quarter of this year. Dewa recorded a net profit of $0.88 million or grew 26.9% compared to the first quarter of the previous year of $0.69 million. Meanwhile, the company's revenue fell 10% to $73.8 million compared to $82 million in the first quarter of 2020. IDX Channel reports. Bank Tabungan Negara or BTN will accelerate the approval of customer credit applications to only 1 day starting next year. The management of BTN said that the acceleration was because at this time, BTN had begun to apply credit scoring using information technology. Before using credit scoring technology, the credit application process takes 7 to 8 days. However, now it can be accelerated to 2 up to 3 days. The company has centralized operations, including credit. Everything was at the branch. Now the trend is that all credit processes are centralized. Hopefully all processes are uniform with the help of the technology. Management added that currently BTN has provided 6 enterprising loans in Indonesia. The company targets housing financing to reach 1.2 million in the 5-year period of 2021 to 2025. From the initial proposal submitted that the mortgage disbursed were 1.2 million units in total with a projected 167,000 units in 2021, 199,000 units in 2022, 229,000 units in 2023, 277,000 units in 2024. Step aside from market condition as the efforts in achieving herd immunity is still going on. Here is an update data about COVID-19 vaccinations in Indonesia. And the news closes our market headlines today. Please enjoy our next program on IDX Channel, your trustworthy economic, business, and capital market channel. And to prevent the spread of COVID-19, always wear a mask and get vaccinated immediately. Masks have been shown to reduce the risk of transmission by 80%, while vaccines minimize the risk of death by 73%. So let's wear masks and get vaccinated because masks and vaccines keep us healthy and happy. I'm Fajar Wayong. Have a nice evening and stay safe.